SingleDad helped an old man walking in the rain. The next day, he helped her save her job. On a cold, relentless night when the rain fell like the sky itself had broken, Daniel, a tired single father, drove home after finishing a double shift at the warehouse, his hands aching and his heart heavier than usual because his 7-year-old daughter Lily was waiting alone at home with a neighbor, trusting him to return safely as she always did. When his headlights caught the fragile figure of an old man walking slowly along the side of the empty highway, soaked to the bone, clutching a worn leather briefcase as if it carried his entire life, and though Daniel's first instinct was to keep driving, because life had taught him that kindness often came at a cost he could barely afford, something about the man's defeated posture and trembling steps forced him to stop, roll down his window, and ask if he needed help, only to hear a weak but proud refusal that broke Daniel's heart even more, so he parked anyway, stepped out into the rain, and offered his jacket, his voice calm but firm as he said no one should walk alone in a storm like this, especially not at his age, and after a long pause the old man finally accepted the ride, sitting quietly in the passenger seat as rain drummed against the roof, and during that short drive the man revealed little except that he had once been someone important, that life had taken unexpected turns, and that tonight he had nowhere else to go. So Daniel drove him to a modest motel, paid for the room with the last cash in his wallet, the money he had saved to buy Lily new school shoes, and before leaving, the old man held Daniel's hand with surprising strength and said words Daniel would never forget, "Kindness never stays lost." Then the next morning Daniel woke up to chaos when Lily's school called, informing him that the after-school care program he relied on was being cut and his neighbor could no longer help, putting his job at risk because he couldn't leave a child alone. And as if fate wasn't cruel enough, when Daniel rushed Lily to school and arrived late to work, his supervisor warned him that one more issue would cost him his job, leaving Daniel desperate, exhausted, and questioning whether doing the right thing the night before had been a mistake, and that same morning Lily's teacher, Emma, a kind but visibly anxious young woman, was informed that she was about to be fired due to budget cuts and a misunderstanding involving a missing donation fund she had never touched, her reputation suddenly stained. Despite years of dedication, and as Daniel passed the school office later that day to plead for flexible hours, he saw Emma standing there in tears, holding termination papers, and though they barely knew each other beyond polite smiles at pickup time, Daniel felt compelled to speak up for her integrity, explaining how she stayed late to help children, how Lily adored her, but his words fell on deaf ears, until suddenly the office doors opened and the school board members stood up in shock as an elderly man entered the room, no longer looking broken or lost, but composed, sharp, and commanding, holding the same leather briefcase, and Daniel's heart stopped when he recognized him as the man from the rain, who then revealed himself as the school's largest anonymous donor and a former corporate leader who had stepped away from public life after personal loss. And he calmly explained that he had been testing the character of the people around him, that Emma was innocent, that he himself had temporarily moved the donation to audit the system, and that Daniel, the single father who helped him when no one else would, had reminded him that humanity still mattered more than money, and within minutes Emma's job was reinstated with an apology, the after-school program was fully funded, Daniel was offered a stable day-shift job through the Donors Foundation, and as the old man turned to leave, he gave Daniel a quiet smile and said, "You didn't save me that night, I was already saved, you saved yourself." And as Daniel walked out holding Lily's hand while Emma thanked him with tears in her eyes, he realized that one moment of kindness had changed all their lives forever, proving that even when you're struggling, even when the world feels unfair, choosing compassion can open doors you never imagined. And if this story touched your heart, reminded you to believe in kindness, and showed you that good deeds always find their way back, then don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Because here we share stories that inspire hope, restore faith, and remind us all that humanity still exists, one story at a time.